Okay, cadets, today we're going to continue in our area of health and fitness. We've talked about nutrition when we've talked about fitness. And what we're going to go over today is body image, which in today's society is actually a pretty big issue. And our essential question for today is, how can you develop a healthy body image? What is the right image that you should perceive yourself and be happy in your own body? And that's important. It's very important that we're comfortable and happy with who we are and how we feel we look. Okay, so thinking about your body image, what do you already know? Let's check into that. Is it true or false? Trying to look like a model or athlete can be unhealthy and unrealistic. And if you really think about that, that's probably pretty simple. That's true. It's if you believe everyone, the perfect person needs to always look like a model, whether you're male or a female model, or that you got to perform like an athlete and look like an athlete, that can be very unhealthy. And a lot of times people kind of are sad because they just feel that that's the ideal image and that they're not living up to it. So that's definitely unhealthy. Okay, we're going to go over in these next couple classes, we're going to define body image, describe how to measure your body composition, compare the factors that influence overweight and underweight people, explain how to balance exercise and calories for the appropriate weight, and describe some of the eating disorders. Those that sound your keywords there: the anorexia nervosa. Go over the basal metabolic rate, body composition, body image, BMI, body mass index, bulimia nervosa. Describe what empty calories are, endocrine system, fasting, and obsession. All right, we're not going to be able to do this since we're not at the school, but if you do have a magazine to look at, go ahead and look at it, and review that. And is it people? What do you notice about the people in the magazines? How are they different from each other, or do they look a lot alike? And do you want to look like them or any of them when you're looking at it? So if you have a magazine, do that. You can pause this and come back, but we'll talk about it because I took a look at the magazine I've got here, and I'll say, do the ads include people with a variety of body shapes and sizes? Mine didn't. Granted, I was looking at a boating magazine because I like boating, and a lot of them in the magazine, they were all pretty similar, pretty similar fit, models, wearing bathing suits. So, continuing, how would you describe the image of the people you looked at? I would say that most of them were pretty normal to probably extremely thin. So that's at least my experience. Do you think the images you looked at were altered to make people look better? And they do that in the magazines. They will alter the pictures, and many times models will say that they were altered without giving permission. So I couldn't tell on mine. And what is the main mood of the people you looked at? Of course, they were happy and having fun because they were trying to sell a lifestyle, an idea of boating. So they were all very happy out on the water. So think about if you feel good about the way you look. That's the important part, is you've got to feel good and be happy with the way you look. And we're going to go over a little bit of the body image. The body image is the way you see your physical self. And oftentimes, you are your most critical critic. So sometimes people do not see themselves as they really are. You will feel that you look in the mirror and you over exaggerate a lot of the things that you think or you perceive imperfections, and you should not do that. You've got to be very happy with who you are and how you look. So your body image, you got to have a very positive body image. Okay, we'll next and view this animation of body shapes.
Body shapes change as you grow. For example, if you're short and have put on weight, it could be that the extra pounds will look very different when you grow a few inches. Some people just gain weight before growing taller. If you are tall and skinny, you might feel like you're all arms and legs. Don't worry. You may gain weight and fill out after you stop growing in height. Remember that people come in all shapes and sizes, tall, short, curvy, straight, plump, and skinny. Don't judge yourself or others by shape and size.
All right. Continuing on. All right. Ideas about what looks good are determined by culture and also by time. If you look, Mona Lisa, back, painted by Rembrandt, early 1500s, that was considered the epitome of beautiful. This actress from the early 1900s, you can see that they weren't necessarily back then concerned. Women, they wanted to be a little more weight to them. Babe Ruth was one of the most premier athletes in the 1914 to 1935s, and his body, if you look at it, doesn't necessarily look like many of the modern day athletes. And then today you got the New Zealand dancers. So by culture and time, it's determined. So your appropriate weight is often determined by, of course, genders. It's different for the males and the females, what's considered a healthy weight. It's also considered by your height and your age. And that gets us into body composition, which is the ratio of the body fat to lean body tissue. And the lean body tissue is made up of such things as your bones, your muscles, and your fluids. And you see, typically, between the male and the females, the body composition, males typically have more muscle. Whereas females, it's essential to carry more fat. And, then you look bone and other. So, the body mass index, BMI, is a measurement that allows you to assess your body size, taking height and weight into account. It's a mathematical formula, and it's used to screen for the possible weight problem. Now you see that's the mathematical formula there, but it's very easy. If you Google BMI, there's lots of BMI calculators on the internet, which if you know what your weight is and you put your height in there, it'll go ahead and calculate what your BMI is. And there's a healthy BMI and then there's unhealthy BMIs. Okay, this is going to be in the It's Learning, but I do want you to read the weight problems and diet section in your student text. It's really only about a page and a half. It starts on page 239 and go to page 241. Stop at the roll of calories. So that'll be your assignment for today, is go ahead and read that. And after you read that, because it goes over some of this, but is it true or false the shape you'll have as a teenager will remain with you the most of your adult years? So how you look now is how you'll probably look the rest of your life. Is that true or false? And that's false. You're going to change as you stop growing, and as you move into adult. Your body is going to change. Some boys might put more muscle on, or might put a little more fat on. It's just going to change over time. Thin, muscular body types have always been considered attractive. Is that true or false? We kind of went over that earlier about the body images and culture. So obviously that's false. over, just depend on the time that we live in. That's not necessarily always been the way we've thought. Body composition is the ratio of body fat to lean body tissue, bone, height, or weight. And we went over that. You would know that would be the lean body tissue. Now, of course, bone is part of lean body tissue, but it's also lean body tissue, muscle, bone, and everything else. Which of the following is not a health risk for people who are overweight? Is it high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease, or anemia? And we go over that in your reading. That would be anemia, which is a lack of red blood cells to carry oxygen. People who are underweight are more likely to blank than people who have normal weight. Break bones, have a healthy diet, have a stroke, or fight off colds. And we went over that. That's break bones, because oftentimes if you're underweight, you're missing some malnutrition, and you may actually have be prone to osteoporosis and weaker bones. True or false? Calories in many processed foods are absorbed by the body the same way as calories from high fiber foods. Is that true or false? And that is false. You'll learn in the readings about empty calories and the fact that a lot of those fast foods, processed foods, those calories are definitely absorbed quicker and differently than regular with the fibers. Okay, so what is what do you think is a normal weight? And this is an exercise under over. Okay, what in your idea, you go through what you think is a normal weight, and I will just go over the answers to that because we're not going to be able to do it in class. But if Tom is 6'1" and weighs 150 pounds, he'd be actually underweight by the healthy standards. Where Teresa is 5'2", has a large frame, and weighs 143 pounds, she's okay. That's fine. A lot of people might be sitting there thinking, that's overweight, but that's okay. That's fine. That's we're not living by this image of having to look like a model. Melanie is 5'6", has a medium frame, weighs 143 pounds. That's fine too. Howard is 5'6", has a medium frame, weighs 151 pounds. That's good. Jack is 5'11", has a large frame, and weighs 190 pounds. He's actually over. And so that would someone that probably needs to lose a little bit of weight. George is 5'9", and weighs 151 pounds. That's okay. And Tammy is 5'9", and weighs 160 pounds. That's fine too. Because oftentimes, like they say, females have to carry more essential fat than the males do. All right, get back to our presentation. So, continuing on, what surprised you about those answers to that exercise? I think a lot of times, many of you may think that, some of the people were overweight, but no, it's okay. We can't, our body image, we have to be fine with that, and many of that is healthy. Okay, talk about now managing an appropriate weight. How do we go about managing that appropriate weight? And that would be reading the Managing Your Appropriate Weight section in your student textbook, and that's going to be also just a short few pages of page 242 to page 244, and that's where we'll stop today. So I want you to read that, and then we'll continue on with this block of instruction in our next class. So today, no worksheets. All you gotta do is watch the presentation and read those two areas, really pages 239 to 241, and then pages 242 to 244. And we will continue this at our next class.